And you guys will need, do you all have a yoga block by any chance? Yes. If you don't have a yoga block, you can always get a stack of books or like the one book that's really thick. Yes, awesome. And this is mainly because I'm gonna try to be super chill today, and we're gonna use the block for some of the most challenging poses. So like instead of doing a malasana, like the deep squat, you'll just get to sit on a block and stay in a squat. Yay! And like same thing with the bridge and things like that. So all right, with all of that being said, I'm gonna start before it gets too late. So get on your mat and find some stillness. You can lay down with your back on your mat, find a nice Shavasana pose. And start tuning into your body. Let your feet drop, your toes. Your legs will probably want to open a little bit to the sides. Notice what your breath feels like today. If it feels a little sticky, and where does it feel sticky? Take a moment to feel every part of your body that's on the floor, your heels, your calves, your bum, your shoulder blades, your triceps. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, follow your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And exhale, let that go. Inhale, fill your belly, ribs, chest, and let that go. Bring one arm to your heart and one arm to your belly. And let's try that again. Inhale in your belly, ribs, chest, hold at the top, and let that go. One last time. Inhale on your belly, ribs, and chest. Hold at the top and let that go. Bring your feet towards your mat and knock your knees together. Maybe swing your knees side to side to start getting some movement into your hips. When you're ready, bring your knees to your chest and give it a big, big hug. Place your knees, your feet back on the mat, and just have them hip width distance, and rock your knees to your right side. Just let them drop, and you can open your arms to the sides. Very, very subtle twist. If this by any means hurts or it's painful or it's just uncomfortable in any way, come back to center. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Back to center, your knees back to center, and try the other side. Take this time to start bringing some attention to your breath. Picture your throat actually opening up and closing in when you exhale. Come back to center. Give another hug to your knees. And make your way into a happy baby. You can stay still if that's what your body's asking for, or you can rock side to side. Today's class is all about being mindful and taking care of our body. I find that a lot of people that I talk to, they have been feeling quite anxious for the last couple of weeks. So let's get us a rest from that. Bring your feet back to the mat. Stretch your legs long and your arms towards your ears and give yourself a big, big stretch. Inhale, stretch and arch your back, and exhale and let everything go. Try that again. Inhale for a big, big stretch, even fake a yawn, especially if you just got out of bed. And let that go. Last time, inhale for a big, big, big stretch. On your exhale, come to a fetal pose on one side and slowly make your way into a child's pose, facing the top of your mat. Take your time, move as slowly as you can or as fast as you want. Just be very mindful. Taking a deep inhale. And melt your belly into your thighs on an exhale. Nice inhale. And on the exhale, bring yourself to a tabletop. Take a breath in. Sorry, I was just letting someone in. Find your little cat cows on your own time. Add your own rhythm. Looking up on an inhale and looking down on an exhale. Have 3 more cat cows. And when you're done with those, tuck your toes and find your downward facing dog. Take as much time as you need. And when you're ready, if you are not already there, find your downward facing dog. And because this is the first inversion of the day, just make sure to take your own movements. Paddle your feet. You can send one leg long to the sky and then the other. You can bend your elbows, find some stretch in your shoulders. And when you're ready, take tiny little steps to the front of your mat and find a forward fold, a passive forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you want, all the way until you can actually rest your belly on your thighs. Grab opposite elbows and just let yourself hang in there. You can swing from side to side. You can bounce up and down. Shake your head yes and no. And very slowly, roll all the way up into a stand pose. Roll your shoulders up and roll them down for Tadasana. Have a good practice, everyone. Inhale, arms to the ceiling. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, place your hands on the mat and walk to your plank and hold in there. Inhale, take a full inhale. And on your exhale, find your way down to the ground. You can place your knees down. 3 baby cobras. Inhale, lift. Exhale to lower. Find that wavy movement on your spine every time you inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. You can even press very hard to the ground for now. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Tuck your toes. Find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And on your breath out, find your way to the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bring your arms to the ceiling on an inhale. Right away, fold on an exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms. Step to plank pose. One full inhale and plank. Exhale, you can tap your knees and lower all the way to the mat. Repeating 3 baby cobras. This time you can float your hands off the ground. Inhale, lifting. Exhale to lower. Reminder that this is all optional. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Find your downward dog. Inhale, look up. Lift your heels, bend your knees, and take one big step to the front of your mat, one leg and then the other. Halfway lift and fold down. Last time, inhale, arms to the ceiling. Exhale to fold right away. Halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms and go for chaturanga or lower yourself to the ground. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One full inhale and one full exhale. Inhale to look up, lift your heels, bend your knee, and walk, step, or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bring your arms to the ceiling and sit your hips back into your Utkatasana, powerful pose. Take a deep inhale and sit lower on your exhale. Let's make this a little bit more fun. Inhale to reach your arms to the ceiling. Exhale, swing your right arm to the back. Look at it. Inhale to bring it back to the front. Exhale your left arm to the back. Inhale to lift the front. Exhale, right arm. Bring your right arm to the front and your right knee to your hip, to your hip height. Take a big step back for a high lunge and settle. Inhale in here. Exhale to deepen your lunge. Let's do that swinging back again, but with both arms. Inhale to reach for the ceiling. Exhale to swing your arms back and hinge at your body for runner's lunge. Inhale to bring it back up. Exhale, runner's lunge. Bowing to your knee. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, bend your back knee very slowly until you lower yourself all the way to the ground. Inhale to lift your body. Exhale, plant your palms to the floor and hold. Stretching front, looking up on an inhale. And sit your hips back on an exhale. Half Hanuman, half splits. Let us hang in here for a while. Remember that it doesn't matter what this pose looks like. You can have your toes tucked, you can have your toes pointed. It doesn't really matter. Your hips can be as high or as low as you can. Now, on your next exhale, surrender to your front leg and go across that front leg with your right arm. Find a little twist. Inhale. And exhale. On your next exhale, come back to center and come to the front. Tuck your toes in the back, lift your knee, and spring to the top of your mat to feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees, lower your hips, and find your Utkatasana on the other side. Chair pose. Inhale to reach your arms forward. Exhale to swing your left arm back. Inhale to reach. Exhale to swing your right. Inhale to reach. Exhale to swing your left and bring it up and bring your knee to your hip height. Take a big step back onto your high lunge and settle there. Make sure that your hips are nice and square. Make sure that the tailbone is pointing down. And if you need to bend your knee a little bit, that is a-okay. Inhale to reach to the ceiling. Exhale to find your runner's lunge. Don't be afraid, inhale to lift. Don't be afraid to come a little bit out and in of the pose and exhale. Inhale to lift. And on the exhale, as slowly and even more so, tap your knee to the floor. Very, very slow. Yeah. Inhale to stretch your spine and plant your palms to the floor. Looking up on an inhale. And exhale, sit your hips back onto half splits. Take a moment in here. We usually recommend that you flex your feet just to protect your knees. Yeah. And when you're ready, bow down to your leg and find that little twist, crossing your left arm on top of your front leg. Notice how you feel about this pose. Bring yourself back to center and find a plank pose. Taking a deep inhale in your plank. Tap your knees down or not and go all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to lift your heels, bend your knees, and on empty, travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bring yourself all the way up to the ceiling, arms to the ceiling, and place your hands in front of you, palms facing the ceiling. Now on the inhale, take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, bring your right knee to your hip height, and at the same time, wrap your arms and your legs for eagle pose. Your right knee goes on top of your left knee. Notice how similar this pose is to your chair pose. Ideally, both knees are one on top of the other. If that is not an option, you can always have your toes on the ground. Taking a deep inhale to reach your knee to hip height and take another big step back for high lunge. Unravel your arms, bring them to the ceiling and make a big circle back. Oh, no, that's not right. I made a mistake, sorry. To your back of your hands, flip your toes to the side of your mat and find a wide-legged stance. Taking a deep inhale to look up, and on the exhale, come down to your forward fold. Now, take this as passive or as active as you want. This is a very nice place to start to give yourself a nice massage on the back of your calves, on the back of your hamstrings. Yeah. And when you've had enough of that, place your arms on the floor, You can bend your knees as much as you can for a real passive stretch. Let your head dangle. Again, shake your head yes and no. And hold in there. Place your hands underneath your face. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, pivot your right knee toes to the corner of your mat and sit on that knee. Bend. Correct. Yes. Same thing with this pose. You can have your whole foot on the ground, your heel can be off the ground, whatever is more accessible to you. Find a moment of stillness. And on your next inhale, open your right arm to the ceiling. Bring your arm back down. Walk to the front of your mat. And step your feet together in the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to lower. Bringing yourself all the way up, arms to the ceiling. Lower your arms in front of your face, palms facing the ceiling on exhale. Inhale to cross your left arm underneath your right arm. Bring your left knee to hip height. And at the same time, tangle them all into your eagle pose. Again, notice which poses are the most challenging to you and why. Is it because it's like physically challenging? Is something bothering you? Find more depth as the pose goes on. Inhale to lift your knees, hip height. Take a big step back for high lunge. Again, unravel your arms to the ceiling. Stretch your front leg and pivot your feet to the other side of the mat for a wide-legged forward fold on the other side. Take your time, hinging at your hips, and eventually find the floor. On this side, play a little bit with the weight. Maybe push your way a little bit towards your toes, and then again back towards the heels. And notice which one you like better and why. You can do it with your arms on the floor, or you can have your arms on your hips, whatever is accessible to you. That's right, you can grab for opposite elbows if that feels good. And again, if you want to make this more passive, bend your knees and really let go of everything. Let your legs carry all the weight. Bring your arms underneath your face and inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, pivot your back toes towards the corner of your mat and sit on the back leg into Skandasana. Take your time to get into the pose. And when you're ready, bring your left arm to the ceiling. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, make your way back to the front of the mat. Spring and find your feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Plant your palms on the floor and hop, step, or jump into your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale for downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in. And flutter your lips on the breath out. Let's try that again. My things are falling. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale to flutter. Lift your heels up, bend your knees, and step into your big squat, feet outside of your hands. Grab your block and just sit nicely on it. Take your time to get into your pose. Bring your arms to your heart. Connect your tailbone to the block and start assessing your spine. Make sure it's not arched and make sure it's not tucked. Bring your left hand to the floor. JK, I cannot reach the floor. Bring your left hand down and your right arm up for an open twist. Can you guys actually reach the floor? Wow, I have very short arms. And on your next exhale, come back to center in your heart. Take a nice inhale. And exhale to open on the other side. Make sure you're still breathing. And come back to center. Bring your arms to the floor. Take the block away from your bum. Stretch your hips, your legs, and walk your feet towards hip width distance. And let's put our palms underneath our feet for a nice little gorilla grip. Step on top of your palms. You can also hook your toes, your big toe, and let your head dangle. Bend your knees as much as you can. Keep your grip and find a halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale to deepen your stretch. Come closer to your thighs. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale. This is a great place to give yourself a nice massage on the heel of your hands. When you've had enough, walk your hands out of your feet. Bring your hands to your thighs and very slowly roll all the way up. Take a deep inhale, lift your shoulders. And on an exhale, bring your feet together. Inhale to lift your arms to the ceiling and your right knee to hip height. Take a nice big step back into high lunge. Circle your arms back and clasp your hands. Nice inhale to look up. And an exhale for a humble warrior. Bless you. Holding in here, taking a nice big breath. And on your next exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Bend your back knee and bring your back leg to the ceiling for standing splits. You can flex and point your foot. You can circle your feet. And let's do a nice little wavy motions again. Inhale for halfway lift, still on your standing splits. Exhale to bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, find your splits, standing splits. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to find your foot back towards the back of your mat. Tap your knee down and open your front leg, heel toe, your foot a little bit to the side so that you can find your forearms on the ground for lizard pose. If this is not a comfortable pose for you, you can always stay on your hands, really finding that stretch on your back leg in the front of your hip. You can also not be completely parallel with your foot that's in the front. The foot can stay a little bit open and your knee can open with it, that to make more space. Great. When you're ready, tuck your toes, lift your knee, and find your plank pose. Inhale to go a little forward on your toes. Exhale for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, come all the way down out in front to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to lower. Bring your arms to the ceiling and your left knee up to hip height, and take a nice big step to the back for high lunge. Inhale to reach your arms up. Exhale to bring them back. Clasp your hands and find your humble warrior. Lean forward. Inhale. You can reach your palms as far away from your bum as you can. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhale, plant your palms on the floor and take a nice big step into your standing splits. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, halfway lift on your standing splits. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, bring them all together. Inhale, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, reach your leg all the way back to your high lunge. Tap your knee down and find your lizard pose. Heel toe, your front foot. It can open a little bit and eventually place your forearms on the ground. You can swing yourself front and back with those toes that you have tucked in the back to create a little movement. Your knee can stay tapped on the floor or just off the ground, and just find space in there. When you're ready, bring your palms to the floor, untap your knee, and find your plank. Another flow, bring yourself forward and chaturanga on an exhale. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Bring your left leg to the ceiling and step in between your hands. Pivot your right heel to the ground and roll yourself up into a warrior two. Taking a deep inhale, and on an exhale, settle yourself on a deeper lunge. There are two options for your hips here. They can either be facing completely forward, or you can kind of face them towards your front leg. A little bit more square version. Okay, ready for what's next? Take a deep inhale and find your half moon on an exhale, all the way to the front. We're gonna sprint from one to the other. Yeah, ready? Inhale for warrior two. Exhale for half moon. Inhale for warrior two. Exhale for half moon. Last time, inhale for warrior two. Exhale to reverse your warrior. Inhale to stretch your front leg. Exhale, find your weight. Hinge at your hips and find your way into your triangle pose. Your front arm to your front leg. Circle your top arm all the way to the ground and find your plank. Inhale in there. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Inhale to reach your right leg to the ceiling. Exhale to step in between your hands. Pivot your back foot and find your way into warrior two. Take a moment to settle. Ready for the little flow? Inhale in here. Exhale, go all the way forward into your half moon. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, half moon. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, half moon. Inhale, find your warrior two very slowly. Exhale to reverse. Stretch your front leg. Bring yourself back up and hinge at your hips for triangle pose. Taking a deep inhale and holding on an exhale. Circle your top arm to the floor and find your plank pose. Inhale to hold. Exhale to go into your forearms. Now this one is also really fun. Continue to look up and start walking your feet towards your hands. And go back to plank. Inhale for a little dolphin. Exhale to plank. Use your core. Inhale for dolphin. When you're ready, find a place where you find yourself comfortable. You can widen your stance and try to place your heels on the ground. Evenly distribute your weight in between your forearms and your feet. Take 3 deep breaths in here. Think of it as an assisted downward dog. When you're ready, bring your feet back together. Tap your knees to the ground and eventually make your way to your belly on the ground. Bring one ear to the floor and rest your arms beside your body. You can swing your hips from side to side if that feels nice, or just find stillness. Switch your ears, looking to the other side. Come back to center and have your palms still right next to your body, but facing the ground. Point your toes, tuck your tailbone a little bit, and on an inhale, bring yourself up to a baby cobra. Lower yourself down. Now bring yourself up with forehead and arms. Inhale. Exhale. The next inhale, float everything off the ground. Head, arms, and legs floating. Taking an inhale here. And on an exhale, a little bit higher. Inhale. And on an exhale, bring a little bit higher. We're looking down, inhale. And on an exhale, bring it all back down. Very slowly, press yourself back up into your sitting on your heels. Take your time. For the next one, let's come to the center of your mat and bring your knees right beside your palms. And if you have your block nearby, place it this way so that it's nice support for your back for reclining hero. Yeah, and take your time to walk yourself all the way back before you go down onto your block. Thrust your hips forward, lift your hips off your heels, and then sit back on them again, and then melt into your block. Ideally, your block is all the way on your spine, supporting your back. Let's hold in here. Again, do a double check on yourself on each of the poses that you find the most uncomfortable, and really ask yourself why. When you're ready, start by tucking your chin in and walk yourself up the same way you went down. Bring your block with you, put it on the side, and just sit on your bum and go all the way laying down on the ground. Take your time. Bring your feet on the ground. And I'm gonna do 2 rounds of bridge. The first one without block, the second one with block. But if you just wanna go ahead and place your block underneath your hips, then that's totally cool. Ready? Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, peel your tailbone up to the ceiling and hold. If this is accessible to you, you can walk your hands underneath your back, and you can grab your hands and interlace your fingers. Thrusting your hips towards the ceiling, your pubic bone is high up, and your glutes are active. Without actually moving your hips, have the feeling of pulling your heels towards your bum to engage those hamstrings. And if you had enough, go grab your block before you come down and place it under your hips to sit on it. For a little bit more of a restorative bridge, you can stretch one leg long and then the other. I usually like to bring my hands to my hips or stretch my arms beside my ears for a nice full stretch. And let's just have a few breaths in here. When you're ready, walk your feet back on the ground one at a time. And one at a time, stretch your legs to the ceiling for waterfall. Bring your legs up high. And I love this pose. You can just swing your legs, wiggle them, or just let loose. Whatever kind of movements you think will help you drain those feet. If you are on your feet a lot, this is a great pose. Once you had enough, bring your feet back to the ground. Lift your hips a little bit to take the block away and rest your back on the floor. Bring your right leg up to the ceiling and cross it on top of your left for thread the needle. Whenever you're ready, grab your back leg and find that stretch on the side of your bum. On your next exhale, place that one foot on the ground and bring your right knee on top of your left. Now walk your hips a little bit towards the right and drop your knees to the left for a twist. Twisting with eagle knees. You can always look on the opposite direction for a more intense twist. On your next exhale, bring your legs back to center and place both heel on the ground. Reach your left leg to the ceiling and cross it on top of your right for thread the needle. Bring your legs closer to your chest. And you can always be grabbing the back of your hamstring or your shin. It doesn't really matter. Bring your foot back to the ground and just cross that knee on top of the lower knee. Move your hips a little bit to the left and drop your knees to the right. On your next exhale, bring your legs back to center. And bring your feet wide and tap your knees together for a little bit of a constructive rest. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, bring your knees to your chest and give a nice big hug. Grab for your feet, reach for your feet, and find your happy baby. Notice how this happy baby feels in comparison to the first one we did. And if you're able to, just find stillness. Let your tailbone rest to the ground. Let gravity help pull your knees to the ground. And one leg at a time, bring your feet together and drop them to the floor for a cobbler's pose. Feet together, knees apart. Bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. Take a deep inhale and sigh on an exhale. Breathe into your belly, ribs, and chest. Hold at the top and exhale. Breathe into your belly. Notice that hand rise. Ribs, chest, hold, and let go. One last time, belly, ribs, chest, hold, and let go. Stretch your legs long. Bring your arms to your sides for Shavasana. Holding there, close your eyes. And if you can reach for your block, it's always nice to place it on top of your belly for a little extra weight. Take a minute to listen to all the sounds that are happening around you. Maybe you can even hear some sounds from my home. And just like last time, I'm going to read you a little passage. Let's go on the promise of the present. The eternal self dwells in eternity, and eternity intersects linear time at only one point, the present. Who you are in this moment, therefore, is who you truly are, and who you are is love itself. From that essential point of perfect being, created anew by the universe in every instant, miracles flow naturally. Love interrupts the past and opens the future to new possibilities. No matter who you are, no matter how young you are, in the present, all things are possible. Very slowly, reach your left arm towards your ear. You can take your block away if you have it and roll to that side. Roll to your left side. Slowly make your way to a seated position. Bring your arms to your heart. And from my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you, guys. I'm going to stop the recording.